All right, we covered what a subluxation is, the 3 T's. Now we're going to talk about the 5 D's. And the very first D is what we're covering, which is called dyskinesia. Dys, and it's D-Y-S, you'll see the word that's up there, I'll put it underneath this video, means there's abnormal. Kinesia means movement, so there's abnormal movement. And movement is life. Really, when you look at a human body and the way that it moves, it is vitally, vitally important to their health. So an example I like to use all the time is when you look at somebody's body language, you can tell how their body is feeling physiologically. So the physical body matches the physiology inside. When we look at someone that's excited, you can see their body language, someone that's really depressed or sad, and how they talk and how they move. It really, really matters. Now, when you start to look at the vital importance of the spine, 60% of what the spine does is give feedback to the brain with the movement. And when there is a misalignment and a fixation there, it's not getting the feedback. Those muscles aren't moving correctly, they aren't triggering the right way, and they aren't giving the brain the feedback that it needs. So inside of all those tiny spinal muscles, there's something called muscle spindles, there's stretch receptors. And we call those the eyes of the spine because you can never see your spine, unfortunately. Your brain relies on the feedback from those muscles to know where you're at. A word called proprioception that we use in here is a balance, a sense of balance, a sense of where you are at in time and space. And there is a highly awarded scientist, I think Richard Sperring is his name, who found out that 90% of what your brain can do at any given time is just that, proprioception. We take for granted when we are coordinated and we have proprioception, what it is to lose it. So anybody that deals with vertigo, somebody that's unable to move their body appropriately, so dyskinesia, the brain isn't getting the feedback that it wants, and that is stressful to that brain. It does not like that. So another actual physical example that I like to talk about is somebody that's elderly. We've all seen someone who's kind of hunkered over, their spine and their body just don't move very well. They're a fall risk, they often trip and fall, their gait's really off, everything kind of slows down in their lives and become really uncoordinated. Well, this happens in kids. And people are like, well, how does that happen in a child? Well, remember we talked about the 3 T's. Physical, chemical, and emotional stress, and our body's ability to be able to adapt to those. Now they start to build up in the inside of our central nervous system. The body can't handle it anymore, and let me show you where it can start. I'm going to have this picture also up on social media as well, where you can look at that, and in our office. But when I'm looking at this, and I made it black and white, I'm going to bring it a little bit closer, is a picture of a cesarean birth. And I've got several pictures of cesarean births and how they look, but can you imagine, and it doesn't have to be a C-section, but here we go. When I'm looking at how much stress that can cause on a baby's delicate spine and spinal cord and its developing nerves, it's pretty substantial. And often what we look at is a little picture like this where you can see that head that's tipped off, and that little red organ that's right there, that is your brain stem. And when that thing's torqued off, the brain's not getting the right feedback either. So you can imagine this is like a regular sprain strain. There's a lot of dyskinesia, abnormal movement and fixation. A lot of these babies have a difficult time because that neurology goes to the jaw, nursing, latching, swallowing, turning their head. They might get a flat spot called plagocephaly. That is a really early sign that there's some dyskinesia, but it can be in varying degrees. And a lot of these children, once gravity starts to set in and they've been upright for long enough, now you really start to see the compromise. So things that we look at in our office for people that have dyskinesia, and most of them do when they're coming in, is just the little head tilt that's there, shoulders that are off, arms. You can kind of see the rotation in the body. I know you can't see my whole entire body, but that's what we look for. And we look for the way that the body moves because we know that the brain's not getting the feedback that it deserves and it's vitally looking for. So stay tuned for our next D, but this one is dyskinesia, and it gives you a little bit more science behind what we're looking for and also what we measure on the scans.